Hello. Today we're going to learn to search for psychology articles in the PsycInfo database. To get to the library webpage, go to the MSMC portal at my.msmc.edu and log in with your Mount username and password. You see that there's a link to the library homepage from the portal. You can also go directly to the homepage at msmc.edu/library. To find articles, go to the Find Information tab and choose Articles and Databases. If you scroll down, you'll see that you can access all of our databases by an A to Z list, or you can go in by subject, and that's how I recommend that you go into the databases. The subject link has a link to all the library research guides that are created by the librarians, and they correspond to the majors here at the Mount. So if we choose psychology, you'll see that this is a kind of a portal to information about psychology. So you have a link to our catalog, you have a link to our journals, you have a link to websites, citation help, ebooks, and then in the middle there's a link to our databases. There's also contact information for me if you need any help, or you want to schedule a research consultation, or you just have a question. So today we're going to search PsycInfo, which is the premier database in the psychology. Suppose you're interested in the subject of autism. Most students want to just put a keyword in or a series of keywords like they would in Google. But I'm going to show you that that's not really effective in PsycInfo because you'll get so many hits and it's not a good way to search. So if we put in autism, let's just put it in as a term, and we're going to just let it go into any field. We get almost 77,000 results. And one of the problems with that is, first, you're going to get so many results that you're not going to be able to look through them all. And second, some of the articles will not be primarily about autism. They just will be looking for the term anywhere in the articles. So it's not an effective way to start your research. A better way to search is to go into the thesaurus of psychological index terms, which is a way that the field communicates with each other in a professional manner. So it shows you how terms are used in the field, in the research. So you'll see that it starts out with abandonment as a list. It's an A to Z list of terms. You can just search for your term here. So we're going to look for autism. And if it was a term, it would be hyperlinked, but the database is telling you to use the term autism spectrum disorders. So we're going to look at that. And the nice thing about the thesaurus is it explains the term and where it came from, how it evolved in the field, when it was first used, and how it relates to other terms. So you'll have broader terms, narrower terms, and then also related terms about autism. So sometimes you'll get some ideas here about different research you might want to do when you haven't thought of a term. We're just going to do the general autism spectrum disorders search. And the database takes the term that you've checked off, throws it up into the search box, and all you have to do is search by clicking the green search tab. It is putting it in as a DE, or a descriptor, which means it's a main heading in the thesaurus. So you perform the search. In a few seconds, we get 43,962 results. That's a lot, but we've gotten half the number that we got putting in the keyword. So it is a more effective way to perform your search. So at this point, when you get this many results, you want to try to limit. You can add another term if you wanted, but I'm just going to show you some of the limiters along the side once you do your search, and these are always available. So one of the first things you could try to do is limit to full text. So out of 43,000 articles, 12,000 are full text. Don't worry though, in PsycInfo, even if something is not full text, you can find it in another database, and I will do that in another tutorial. I'll show you how to find the full text. But in this case, we're going to limit just to full text articles. Next, you could take a date range that you were interested in. For instance, from 2010 to 2020. So we're going to use the slider bar. So if you wanted the more recent research, you could do 5 years or 10 years. So now we're down to 7,800 articles. Still a lot, but we can keep limiting. Every time you add a limiter, it's narrowing your search. So you see the limiters are listed along the side. You've got full text, and then we limited to the 10-year range. We can limit to academic journals because this database brings ebooks content into the search, which is helpful, but not when you're looking for articles. So we're going to limit to academic journals. So we've eliminated 2 articles. Another limiter you can place is an English language limiter. This is an international database, so unless you speak another language, sometimes it's helpful to just limit to English right off the top of your search. So we're going to limit, we've eliminated another probably 100 articles. So again, each time your search is getting narrower. Another thing you can do is limit to an age range. And this database is very specific with age ranges. So they have birth to 12 years is considered childhood. They have school age, adulthood, adolescence, all the way up to the very old, which is the last category. So we can limit here to childhood, and so we're going to cut the search in half again almost, and now we're down to 4,500 articles. It's still a lot, but it's very comprehensive. Another thing you can do is limit to a particular type of methodology. Teachers will also often tell you not to use literature reviews, because a literature review is just basically what it says. It's reviewing the literature to date in the field. It's not really about original research. So we're going to just choose empirical studies, and we've got 4,125. And you can see each time you limit, you're getting more and more specific with your terms, with your search. The last thing we can do is look at some of the subjects that they have in here, and we can say show more. You can see all the different kinds of subjects that are covered in these articles. So we're going to choose intervention, and there's 56 articles that have to do with interventions in the field of autism spectrum disorders. So 10 articles display at a time on the page. One of the nice things about EBSCO is you have this little hourglass figure here, and that is a pop-up of the abstract of the article, so you don't have to go into each article to see what it's about. It'll give you a little snapshot. So if we scroll down, let's look at this third article, The Effects of an Oral Intervention on the Fictional Narrative Retells of Children with ASD and Severe Language Impairment. It's a pilot study, and you'll see that there's HTML, which means that it's the full text of the article, but it's just the text. It's not displayed as it appears in the journal. The best format that you can choose is PDF, and that is a scanned version as the article appears in a journal. So that's really what you want, so you can cite it properly and it looks exactly as it appeared in the journal. So when we click that on, you can see that this is a typical research article, and it has an abstract. It has keywords in the front page. They have an introduction which talks about older research, some of the research they're building on. They explain what narrative retell is, which is their study. They talk about the methodology, so their participants, how they kind of designed the study, how they picked out their people that are going to be in the study. They explain the design of the study and what they used to conduct the study. And then they explain sometimes dependent variables, independent variables, the procedures, what they did. You'll see a lot of data in a research article, sometimes tables. And then they explain how they coded the study, how reliable it was, and the results, which is a major factor in the article, telling you about what they determined, what their data showed, and then they discuss the data, so maybe the implications for it and the limitations of what they couldn't do in the study. And then they sometimes have a section about implications for future research, and that's sometimes in their conclusion as well. So they have appendices which have their data, and then an important part of a research article is their references. So this is a good source of material for what they used for their research. So sometimes you can go and get the full text of an article that they reference in the study and see what the article itself said. So that's very important, and it's a good source of other research. At this point, you can download the article, print the article, you can save it, and there's a citation feature in this database. You just have to make sure you choose the correct style. So if you were interested in APA, probably, you would cut and paste this into your reference page. If you have bibliographic management software, you can export it right to that. So that's all here. I would caution to make sure that you understand APA format, because sometimes you will see mistakes in here, but for the most part they're pretty accurate. And you can always go back to your results list and continue searching or look for other articles. A couple of points or tips. If you get too many results, one of the best things to do is to add other terms as an AND search. So you would combine this term with another term, let's say treatment, so autism spectrum disorders and treatment, and I would look that term up in the thesaurus as well, just so you know that you're getting main ideas. So that will narrow your search a little bit. You can also always add more limiters. So there are so many limiters along the side. You can do gender or particular population of inpatient or outpatient. So those are more limiters, male or female, or outpatient, inpatient, that kind of thing. So any of those limiters will make your search a little more narrow. You could add, go back 5 more years. So you could say I only want the last 5 years of research instead of 10. That would make it a little more narrow. Or another thing you can do is to choose narrower terms from the thesaurus. So when we went into autism spectrum disorders, you could choose another term that would be a little more specific, a little narrower. And that is listed right here. So you have narrower terms. You could look for autistic traits, or try one of the related terms, and maybe you'll get a smaller number of articles. One of the things, a few things to do when you get too few results is to choose broader terms. So you can do these broader terms that are in the thesaurus, try those. So you're going outward and trying to get more research. Don't use so many limiters, so you can just be more specific with a broader term. Or sometimes the topic may be too new to have a lot of research. So that may be one reason that you're not getting enough. But if you have any questions, please contact me. And all of my information is on the LibGuide that I showed you earlier. And I'm happy to meet with you individually, answer individual questions. You can email me right from the library guide or the research guide. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have. Have a good day.